The Brooklyn Bridge was just 1 year old when St. Francis College in Brooklyn Heights opened its doors to its first students. Its founders, the Franciscan Brothers of Brooklyn, had as their mandate quality education at a modest cost. And now on their 100th birthday, that commitment remains firm and strong. The library was once the headquarters of the Brooklyn Union Gas Company, and here the 19th century mingles comfortably with the 20th, as do the students.
The relationship is not going to be enhanced by this kind of communication.
Whether in the arts, the sciences, or business, the most up-to-date technology and techniques are used to advantage. The idea? To make studies relevant to the workplace. Happy 100th birthday, St. Francis College, and many, many more.
From tiny grains of sand to this, the steps leading to the completed object are a mystery to most of us. But at the New York Experimental Glass Workshop, you can create your own magic as you learn the art of glass blowing, or experiment with neon. Beginners and experienced artisans are welcome every day. You can even rent space here to work on a regular basis. That's resident artist Thomas Bang at work with Gerald Rose on their latest project. Call the New York Experimental Glass Workshop to get a schedule of classes, and then you can modestly say, I made that myself. All it takes is a trip to 142 Mulberry Street in the heart of Little Italy.
Nestled in northern Westchester is a small artistic town called Katona. But despite its size, Katona has much to offer. Since 1953, the famed Katona Gallery has exhibited the best in art of the past and present, has encouraged new artists by displaying their work, and allows school groups a chance to explore the 6 major exhibits a year. To find out what the current show is, why not give the gallery a call? Another highlight of Katona is Caramore. Known for its wonderful summer concerts, this house museum is a showcase for one of the last great private art collections. Owned by Walter and Lucy Rosen, each room, such as this library, has a wondrous mix of furniture and art objects from various centuries. Located 40 miles north of Manhattan, Katona is an art lover's paradise.
No matter where you come from or live, to succeed as an artist, your work must be seen in New York because it is the center of the art world. There are 2 galleries that recognize the need for Hispanic artists to achieve recognition. At the Cayman Gallery on West Broadway in Soho, you will find the work of Marcos Irizarry. This Puerto Rican printmaker now lives in Ibiza, Spain. You will see photographs of Nicaragua by Jamie Stillings. And for a change of pace, the abstractions of Russian-born Boris Landa. And at the offices of the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico on Park Avenue South, you will find the Oyer Campeche Gallery. Joe Kenderish fills his canvases with light and color. Call to arrange a visit to these galleries. Changing exhibits, concerts, and workshops will give you a chance to see many expressions of the way we live.
This is a building that is lovingly filled with the past. The Langston Hughes Community Library and Cultural Center in Corona has the largest circulating Black heritage collection in Queens. On the only branch library mural in New York, you'll see the transition from Africa to North America. That's the great writer Langston Hughes, and you'll find many residents of the community here too. The library is alive with color, with an exhibit of kente cloth from Africa and sculpture. Of course, the library is filled with children and adults eager to learn, whether they're part of a planned school program or just dropping in to borrow a book or record. Why not explore the Langston Hughes Community Library and Cultural Center? You'll find a warm welcome, and for many of us, a return to our roots.
West 181st Street is busy today, as it is every day, with shoppers from all over Washington Heights choosing from an international selection. At a Korean-owned fish market, a Russian beauty parlor, a Spanish grocery store, and a Greek pizzeria. But shopping is not the only order of the day. The Uptown Press is being readied for this week's edition. And at the Washington Heights Art Show, children are taking classes in sculpture and are being tutored in the 3 R's. Next door, at the Historical Society, history buffs can see what Washington Heights looked like years ago. Washington Heights is New York at its best, and getting better, with a terrific mix of people living and working here. And I ought to know, I live here myself.
At the Center for Inter-American Relations at Park Avenue on 68th Street, you will enter another world, the world of the Shipibo-Conibo Indians of the Peruvian Amazon. Design is a way of life there. These ceramics used for fermentation of beer are laced with the geometric forms that have graced their homes and clothing for centuries. As their clothing darkens and the woven patterns fade from washing, the fabrics are dyed and embroidered over and over again, with even more intricate forms. The Center for Inter-American Relations is open Tuesday through Sunday. You can experience the extraordinary workmanship and art of the Shipibo-Conibo Indians until April 29th. I think it will astound you.
Because of one man's dedication, the Hex Museum was built in 1920 to serve the residents of Huntington, Long Island. August Heckscher loved the area and wanted to improve the quality of its cultural life, and so he has, with a resident artist program and workshops for young people and adults. And of course, a magnificent permanent collection. George Gross, Eclipse of the Sun. Manet's Peonies. Monet's Morning Landscape. The Heckscher Museum is open Tuesday through Sunday. Feast your eyes to 6 centuries of man's artistry.
Man cannot live by chicken soup alone. That's why we have so many Jewish restaurants to choose from. Garlic sausage, chicken fat, an out-of-this-world mushroom barley soup, and custom-made egg creams, all at Sammy's Romanian on Christie Street. If it's elegant glot kosher food you want, you've got it at Lou Siegel's on West 38th Street in the heart of the Garment Center. They've been serving stuffed cabbage, home-cured corned beef, and great pastry since 1917. Ready for something to tide you over? Mama Leah's Blinceria hits the spot. Cheese, vegetable, kasha, potato blintzes, little sour cream, perfection. I'd better get some bagels for breakfast tomorrow. My mother always told me, eat, you'll feel better.
Unless you've traveled to the Near East, you've never seen anything like this. It's a souk. That's a covered bazaar where you can buy food, silk, baskets, jars, and dishes in one small area. That's just part of a terrific new show at the American Museum of Natural History called Silk Roads, China Seas. You'll see how 2,000 years of trade between the East and West brought us a whole new culture to learn from. The Europeans, and later on we Americans, learned how to use these materials and then passed the information back to the East so everyone benefited. So can you. If you rush by camel, ship, train, or bus to this terrific show, sponsored by American Express at the American Museum of Natural History. It's open every day.
The Big Apple's Brooklyn Harbor is now home to a new museum. Located in Brooklyn Heights at the water's edge is the Fulton Ferry Landing Museum, dedicated to the preservation of maritime history and culture. Recently, they unveiled their latest exhibition, Harbor Alarm, Marine Firefighting in New York. This proud salute presents a concise introduction to the evolution of firefighting on our waterfront. On display are firefighting artifacts and materials, a report of New York's worst maritime disaster which happened back in 1904, and a videotape of current marine operations ashore. The building, itself a piece of the port's history, was ceremoniously dedicated as a fireboat house in 1931. Now a Maritime Museum, call for more information about their tribute to our marine firefighters and upcoming festivities on Brooklyn's waterfront.
I just want to say that it's a pleasure to have participated in this discussion, which is going to be carried on, and also to welcome Ms. Roosevelt back to the White House.
Oh, thank you very much, and I'm very grateful to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Elanor Roosevelt, First Lady to the 32nd President of the United States, born 100 years ago in 1884. As a young woman, shy and unsure of herself. Later, wife of a rising politician and mother of a large family. Mistress of the White House for 13 years. And in her final days, humanitarian, ombudsman, leader of world opinion, and servant for peace as a delegate to the United Nations. In 1962, at the age of 78, Elanor Roosevelt died and was buried beside her husband in the Rose Garden at Hyde Park, New York. In the last 3 years of her life, Mrs. Roosevelt's concerns for human rights were expressed each month in a television series, Prospects of Mankind. For the first time since then, the archives of this remarkable series are opened, and we find revealed the very human Elanor Roosevelt, interacting with the greatest personalities of the international arena of the late 1950s and early 1960s. We turn back the clock 25 years and see how a nation is being awakened from the Eisenhower years and catapulted into the Kennedy 60s. How a world of emerging nations, growing population, accelerating technology, and conflicting ideologies is meeting its challenges. Host narrator Gene Stapleton brilliantly portrayed Elanor Roosevelt in a universally applauded television portrait 2 years ago. Here she highlights Mrs. Roosevelt's unusual conviction, her rare intellectual capacity, and her remarkable strength. With excerpts from the programs and current comments from those who took part in the original series and those who worked with her during the last years of her life, we have a record of the final surge of optimism before the assassination of Kennedy brought us into an age of cynicism and fear, before the debacle in Vietnam, before the disillusionment of a nation and the world. President John F. Kennedy, in his first telecast from the White House, shown for the first time in 23 years, outlines his hopes for a Peace Corps.
There are not many people who know certain languages where the need is greatest. So I should think that there would have to be an effort made to give them at least some basic training in learning the language, and then they can acquire more on the job.
Well, I agree. Some of the esoteric dialects would require, but it takes many months to really learn to be effective.